Hey, guess what? Grit Season 2 is coming to YouTube from the guys over at Latitude. If you guys didn't watch the first season of Grit, in my opinion, it was the best content that was on the internet last year as far as deer hunting content goes. So make sure you go over to Latitude's YouTube channel. It's always linked in the description below, and give them a subscribe. The first episode drops Monday, September 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, as far as products go, they got the Maverick saddle in a couple different camo patterns now, which is really cool. And they still got them Carbon SX sticks. I really like those sticks. I love how they are super compact when you stack them together, and I like the attachment system a lot. They're also made in the USA. Go over to latitudeoutdoors.com, use the code BTE, save you 15% off. And hey, if you need some hunting clothes, you ought to go check out ASIO gear. Can't beat their warranty, it's a lifetime, and they got some of the best whitetail hunting garments on the market. I just got a new piece in from ASIO. It's their soft shell jacket. It's called the Heavyweight Hoodie, and it's awesome. They also have a new leafy top coming out, which is going to be awesome as well, and a silent puffy for the whitetail hunter. If you need anything from ASIO gear, go over to their website, ASIOgear.com, use the code ECHO15 and save yourself like 15% off all their stuff on their website. If you're a deer hunter and you're not using stealth strips, what the heck are you doing? Are you really even trying? If you don't know about stealth strips, it is the best silencing tape on the market that makes your equipment deadly silent. I have all my gear padded up and wrapped with stealth strips. I don't want a single noise to come out of my gear when I'm setting up on a mature whitetail. So go over to stealthoutdoors.com and use the code BTE10, save yourself 10% off. If you're in the market for new broadheads, check out my buddies over at Razor Broadheads. They offer a wide selection of single bevel, cut on contact, chisel tip heads ranging from 125 grains all the way up to that Magnum 300 grain broadhead. And guess what? They're all made right here in America. These things are incredibly tough. I've been using the 200 grain heads with my traditional bow for years now, and now I'm shooting the 125 grain head out of my compound. And what's crazy about these things is the 200 grains, an 1.5 inch cutting diameter, and man, that thing flies perfect, exceptionally well. So visit razorbroadheads.com, use the code BTE, and save yourself 20%. A good way to support this podcast is to support those who support the podcast. So all the info on my partners are in the description of this podcast. Go check them out. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Got a special guest. Zach, how do you pronounce your last name?
Very carefully.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I wasn't going to pronounce it out loud.
Berklasick.
Berklasick.
Yeah.
Okay. And Zach lives in Indianapolis, we'll just say that. And you have a landscaping company.
Correct, yes.
That, for like high-end landscaping, I guess you can kind of describe what you do and like how you hunt.
So we specialize in high-end residential. That's pretty much the sandbox that we play in as far as outdoor living environments goes, from patios to pool decks, fire features, water features, land management, drainage, things like that. So this is year 20 of me doing that, and I've had my own company for just over a year now. And basically, you know, along the way, I've just, you know, kind of naturally ended up on some properties where people have had issues with deer, you know, like the one we're going to today. You know, they spend $30,000 a year in flowers, and then the deer just come eat them. So,
gosh, that's insane, man.
I know, man. Just walking the property with the client or the, you know, house manager in this case, and you know, just open a natural conversation. They're like, man, the freaking deer are just tearing our stuff up. I wish we could do something about it. And, you know, of course, I gauge my conversation based on, you know, the chemistry I have with whoever I'm talking to. But
yeah, you can tell pretty quick if someone's a deer lover or if they'd be open to letting someone hunt.
Yeah, I mean,
usually.
Most of the time they're like, oh, you do that? I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, I've got a family to feed.
Yeah.
So it works out pretty well. But I've definitely had clients too that have been like, No, the deer are my pets.
Yeah.
Well, then you kind of got to back out of it. You're like,
Right.
I don't want to hurt them. I just want to talk to them. That's all. It's just gonna have a conversation. So it could easily go both ways. But I've stumbled upon a few really good properties here. North Central Indiana, we've got about 12 different properties that I manage and have sole access to.
Yeah.
So that's basically where I got started with that.
So we're helping rich folks with their families. That's what with their flowers. Is what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. We're the property where we're hunting today. They're having a wedding here later this month. Or sorry, later in October. I guess this month's almost over.
Yeah, it'll be this month by the time this goes out.
Okay. So they're having a wedding here, coming up, and the deer are just mauling the hydrangea flowers, and they're like just trying to hang on to them. So I think I told you the other day, I'm gonna get online and get some artificial hydrangea flowers and just start zip tying them to the stalks for them.
That's funny. And this area is called the reduction zone in Indiana, which means that if you cannot shoot a buck until you shoot a doe, but if you shoot a doe, you get a bonus buck tag for the reduction zone, so then you can shoot 2 bucks, technically in Indiana.
Correct.
If in the reduction zone. So there is an incentive for us to go out and get a doe.
Absolutely.
Outside of the meat, for the freezer.
Go
ahead.
Not only do they taste better, but yeah, there's definitely an incentive when it unlocks that second buck.
Yeah. How did you start hunting? Like when did you start hunting? Have you always just hunted in the city, or before that, or were you out?
No, I actually started hunting like 8.5 years ago.
Okay, so you haven't been a lifetime hunter then?
No, I went with my dad as a kid, but I just mostly sat under a tree with a shotgun with him. Never anything archery. Nobody in my family or any of my circle growing up was into archery at all. So I started getting into it almost 9 years ago, and I started out with a crossbow because I work a lot and I didn't know if I'd have time to really get into the bow thing. But I literally went out my very first hunt and shot a doe with that crossbow. I'm like, gosh, this is too easy. Man. So, and my wife shoots a crossbow. I know there are people she can't see very well when it gets dark. So to each their own, but I wanted more of a challenge, and it's definitely been that. But it's also allowed me to meet some really cool people like Josh and get tied in with them. I've gotten a lot of youth into shooting archery that way too.
So. Josh Butcher you're talking about, not me. We didn't know this at all, but we ended up having like a mutual friend, guy that runs Bass and Bucks, or his family owns it, Josh Butcher. I went to school with him, and how did you meet Josh? Through through the car stuff.
No, I went up there to buy a bow.
Oh, okay.
And we hit it off the very first time, and then I drive up there because it's an hour and 20 minutes north of me. And there's several bow shops around me, but I just didn't trust anyone to touch my bow. And even to this day, I'll wait until Josh is going to be there so he can set up my bow.
Well, I think Bass and Bucks might be the biggest archery shop in like the Midwest too.
I'm pretty sure.
Or at least in Indiana. I don't know. That was a long time ago whenever I was living up there, but it's a gigantic archery shop for a bow shop. It's not like a Bass Pro or anything, but it's big.
Exactly. Yeah, they do a really good job, and they've got, I always told people when I first started going there, when you like, if you died and went to archery heaven, that's where you'd wake up.
Yeah, right.
They have everything.
They do. So you just started hunting 9 years ago. What sprung that on? Or you just...
one of my friends, he was like, hey dude, I got some property. Have you ever been hunting before? And I'm like, no, I've always wanted to. I just didn't know anywhere to go or wasn't around anybody. And he's like, man, get you a bow or a crossbow or something. And he's like, why don't you come out and go hunting with me? So I kind of blew him off for a while, just like I said, because I work a lot, and I didn't really think that it would, be something that I could participate in and, actually get the time off. But we went out that first time, and it was really cool. It was a nice, doe, and a few of them came in, but she just ended up being the one that went the wrong direction. So
So when did you get the idea of hunting in the city here then?
So the next year, that property was still available, but there were several other people hunting there. And I'm like, gosh, man, I've got to figure out a way. And I've always, you know, had a good relationship with the people I work with. I'd say 99% of the clients that I do work for end up becoming friends afterwards.
Right.
So I've just kind of kept that thing in mind. And, you know, when I'm out on these properties and if I see, like, I mean, you'd be surprised. I'll send you some of the map pictures, but dude, I can pull a nice buck out of a tiny little piece of land.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like the biggest one I shot, you know, it was on 8 acres. And that 159-inch 8, you know, I got him in less than an acre of woods. So
yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things where I get on site, and if it looks like there's deer activity or I can see chewed up hostas and flowers, then my gears start turning.
Plus you got clients sending you pictures of like nice bucks bedded in their backyard and stuff, right? So it's like well, all right,
they're here.
Yeah,
they're here, you're not. But when I see a situation like that, I just, you know, I've even traded services. I'll trade, you know, money off of what I'm doing in exchange for sole access. Now the reason I want sole access is so I can take people with me,
right,
you know, who either haven't hunted before, haven't hunted urban before. But you know as well as I do, if you got people going in there that don't pay attention to, you know, what they're doing, and I've taken guys before that have ended up lighting up cigarettes in the tree, and I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna work out.
Yeah,
no need to ruin it for everybody.
The scent control thing, I could see definitely in the urban areas like this, how if you had some scent control, you could really it's really beneficial. Because I you know, if you're out in like the middle of Hoosier National where there's very few people ever walking, I could see how just a little bit of human scent would be like, oh gosh, that's not good for a deer. But like here in this I don't know if you call these, they're not housing additions, they're like more like a neighborhood or suburb. Yeah, they, you know, I could see how, okay, they're used to smelling humans constantly. So if you could reduce your scent down enough to where, you know, it's to the level that they're used to, they probably don't even think about you up in the tree, even if they're downwind or whatever. Because downwind, there's just another house, or, you know, there's always some kind of human thing right there, you know.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that on the way up here. Like, I can see how scent control could be real important during this, or real beneficial, I guess.
It is. You know, and there's always a gardener, a tree guy, or, you know, some sort of service provider that's out on site and looking around and whatever. I mean, I had cameras in the backyard of this house last year, and they had some guys out trimming trees, and they were just, I got like 100 photos of these guys like peeking at my camera, and then one of them actually pulled up a picture of a buck on Google and held his phone right in front of my camera.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'll find that picture and send it to you. But they were I was texting the house manager while those guys were in the backyard. I'm like, I hope you aren't paying these guys by the hour. They've definitely blown like a good 45 minutes.
Messing with your stuff?
Yeah, between the three of them. She got a kick out of that.
That's funny. Yeah. Huh. So, did you, like, whenever I think of urban hunting, I think of Lee Ellis, or Seek One is the first thing I think of. And, like, that guy, he's killed 2 big bucks this year already, like giants.
Yeah, they're massive.
Do you watch him much?
I don't watch him much. I do watch him. Like, it pops up on my feed.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm not interested. I would say what we're doing is very similar to that. But I just don't get the amount of time.
Yeah.
That's why I've started relying heavily on cellular cameras to give me data, but until those 2 brand new Spartans didn't work out, their security. Until those 2 brand new Spartans didn't work out.
We're driving to the hunting spot right now is what we're doing.
Yeah. Pulling in the neighborhood.
Yeah. They never did turn on for you?
No, I emailed tech support, and she tried to tell me to make sure I had the proper SD cards. I'm like, look, ma'am, with all due respect, this is not the first camera I bought from you.
This is not my first rodeo.
Like, it's, you know, but it is a new camera. So Spartan has these Go Live cameras, and they're multi-carrier. So if it can't find Verizon service, then it'll find AT&T,
Yeah, like picks the best one.
Yep. And then I guess, I'm not sure if it switches to T-Mobile too or not, but it switches back and forth depending on who's got service. So, you know, last night was kind of frustrating, but then, you know, today with the massive outage, like my phone right now will only text people with an iPhone, and only because it's connected to the Wi-Fi on my iPad. So I almost wonder if that has something to do with it too.
Yeah, it could be.
So,
I've never heard anybody have any problem with Spartan cameras.
Yeah.
They're pretty high quality.
I love the Reconics, but dude, it's $599 for one.
Yeah.
You know, and I can buy 2 Spartans for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, or almost 3, really.
Yeah, exactly. You see all
cleaning up from the mess.
Yeah, all the storm cleanup.
Yeah, it was a mess in here this weekend. Yeah, so like Lee really, like, I think for one thing he does, which I guess you could do here, is he puts out a lot of corn in the summertime and stuff to keep the deer. I don't know if you keep them in the. I don't know how that would work if you could keep them in a central area, because there's a lot of guys that people feed deer in the city. Like, it's not. That's pretty common, bird feeders, and I mean that's stuff that happens in the city. But like here, there's a lot of acorns in this particular neighborhood that the deer are eating.
Yeah, I've noticed like every 10 feet there seems to just be a massive pile of acorns.
Yeah.
We'll pull in here even though we're going to hunt down below, but there just seems to be a massive pile of acorns. And I could, you know, technically if I wanted to, I could come out here and just dump bags of corn and run cameras all year round. And, you know, I've thought about it. I may do that next year, because I kind of reinforce my bottom end of the company and get a little bit more firepower.
Yeah.
To help get me out of working in the business so much and starting to work more on the business.
Right. Not being kind of the helping hand and the and the guy that runs the business.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's definitely been a lot of running a crew and ordering all the materials, doing all the meetings, all the invoices and estimates. There's a lot. And so I think next year, once I get some systems in place this winter, then I'm gonna, I don't know, I've thought about it. I think I probably should. I mean, you see a benefit in it too, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're really good tools. You got to be careful not to rely on them too much.
Yeah. But running the feed and minerals, it just gets tricky. I've always kind of stayed away from the blur of
the law,
having some sort of mineral content in the ground when, you know, hunting season starts. And I mean, what do you do? Like, the very first year that I hunted and started picking stuff up, I had one place to put a camera, and so I dumped out a bunch of corn and mineral, and it's like you got to dig it out, I think 15 days before season start.
10 days before you hunt it.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's for your scenario too, like, I don't know if your clients would want this big mineral site, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It just depends.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the...
If there's woods, it might not matter as much, but
right.
You know, if somebody's just got a straight up backyard with a woods edge, they probably don't want that.
Right.
And this lady even said, she's like, look, I'll put bird feeders out, I'll do whatever you want me to.
Get rid of them. They want the deer gone, huh?
They do. Yeah, she's just really upset. I don't see anything peeking over there.
No, we're driving by a field right now that their deer are sometimes out into. So, what's the biggest piece of property you have in the city? Like, how many acres? And I guess how small of a property would you hunt to?
I think the biggest, so this one right here is 13.
Yeah,
obviously.
Which is that's really a lot for a town. Well, it's including his yard and stuff, I assume.
Yeah, it includes the yard and the house, of course, but
which is a massive chunk of it.
I think 13. The one on the northwest side I've got is right around the same size, but it literally has like 3/4 of an acre of woods.
Okay.
So, and I've got permission from the neighbors if I shoot something, like the one I shot 2 years ago, I was able to go retrieve him, so not an issue there.
That's where I would get the most anxiety about hunting in these situations, is my deer running on people's property, or like you said, in someone's freaking pool.
That's my biggest fear, dude, is that I'll shoot a deer and it will run into someone's pool. Like, and I carry insurance for that. You know, I carry an umbrella on top of, you know, my regular liability insurance just for that. Well, I'm even just personal.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, especially out here, like, what if you drill a buck and he just starts running across a driveway and just
plows into a
T-bones,
BMW.
T-bones a Maserati or a BMW. Like, you're responsible for that. You created that situation, so, you know, there's no way out of it. You got to pay to fix it. And luckily, we won't have many Maseratis down here, but
it can happen.
Yeah, anything could happen. When you're hunting around this many people and this many houses and, you know, cars, anything could happen. So I just kind of plan for the unexpected and hope that it doesn't happen.
Right. What's the craziest thing that's happened to you? Nothing too crazy?
Nothing too crazy. I've definitely seen a lot of people poaching. I've seen people go back into the woods. One time there was a few. Yeah, I've caught a lot of poachers. I've come down out of the tree probably. Everybody used to make fun of me because they said you have more fun catching trespassers than you do hunting. And for a while I did. The first 3 years I felt like all I did was run people off these properties.
Just people messing around the woods on these little properties, huh?
Yeah, and even people hunting. Even people carrying, you know, a weapon back into the woods I've dealt with before too. So I don't know, it's really hit or miss. But I had a few construction workers went back in the woods behind, and I was like 30 yards away, and they were back there getting high. You know, I've seen that. I mean, I feel like that's pretty common in this day and age, I guess, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, it's just that's a different problem you may have in the city here, you know what I mean, than you wouldn't probably see out hunting the back 40 somewhere.
Exactly. Know? Yeah, I don't think there's as much as that as you get into the back 40.
Right, farms and rural areas.
But the smallest, so you'd ask what the smallest that I would hunt. So the one where I'm gonna take you once we get a doe that's got really good bucks on it, dude, it's only 5 acres, and I'd say the house and the upper piece of land probably take up 2, so there's 3 acres of woods. So
it's not much, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, but you know, really that's all you need. If you got a good broadhead and you practice regularly, you know, anything could happen. We shoot a bow and arrow.
Right. Yeah, if you hit them bad, they're gonna run farther than 2 acres, you know.
Yeah.
But that's if you hit them bad, you run the risk of, even if you own 100 acres, they're gonna go off more than likely, you know.
Yeah. We had somebody hit one on that property where I first shot that doe, and that was 80 acres, and that was ag, and we tracked that deer for 3 miles.
Oh yeah.
Just blood drops, just for 3 miles. It was crazy. The DNR came out, and he's like, because he was getting us permission to go onto these tracks. And when we got to the last one, he's like, all right, boys, I've never seen anyone track a deer this long.
Yeah.
Like, you've done everything you possibly could. The deer's still alive.
Yeah. You've had, like, neighbors and stuff see you in a tree and comment to you, though, right?
Yeah, I guess that is one, like, as far as crazy things go. I was sitting up in the ridge up in front of where we are today.
In the tree that I sat in yesterday.
Yep.
Or not yesterday, Saturday.
Yep. And the neighbor came out from behind, and he was like, I didn't even see him at first. Like, he kind of crept down and around. He's like, hey, what are you doing over there? I'm like, well, I was hunting.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what are you hunting for? I'm like, well, deer. He's like, oh, okay. Do you have permission to be there? I'm like, yes. He's like, what's the homeowner's name? I'm like, Bill. And he's like, oh, okay. Good luck. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to see anything now. There's 0 chance I'm going to see anything after having that conversation with you. Everything in the woods knows where I'm at now.
Right.
So.
But you have killed deer, like your neighbor raking leaves or something in the back, like 40 yards from you.
Yeah, this guy, he's a cool guy. He's nice. He doesn't want anybody hunting his property because he's worried that a human's going to get shot.
Yeah.
can't say that I've ever mistaken a human for a deer, but
Yeah.
he, gosh, it was a couple of years ago. He was outside raking leaves, and he had a fire going, and he's just walking around, just enjoying his property. And I had 2 does come out below me, so I'm like looking at them, and I'm looking back at him, and then I drew back, and I took one last look at him, and I let her fly. And as soon as the arrow went through the doe, I turned around and looked, and he was still raking. Didn't even know. Yeah. And these bows these days are pretty quiet.
Yeah, true.
I mean, you know, yours, like, you're shooting yours before we came down here, and I just started thinking about it, because I've always, you know, people always say Matthews is really quiet, but I really feel like a lot of bow manufacturers have come a long way.
They're all real quiet now and fast, and no hand shock in any of them.
Yeah. Plus yours looks like ASIO.
Yeah,
so,
I got the ASIO camo on mine.
That's nice. I didn't even know that was an option.
It is for prime. I don't think there's any other bow company that has it.
Yeah, not yet. Hopefully there'll be more offerings for that.
Yeah.
You know, with new.
Yeah. ASIO's really grown the last year and a half. They've gotten very popular since last season, you know.
Yeah, I remember when they first came out, that's when I first ordered some of my gear. And I've used everything.
Yeah,
we talked about that, you know, but I just feel like the mission that they're on, and plus, dude, I mean, like, once these leaves fall off these trees, and even now, I mean, most of the trees that we're hunting, but once these leaves fall off the trees here in the Midwest, like, you really can't get a better pattern.
Yeah, no, it's a good looking pattern.
Yeah, I feel like it's not dark, you know, you don't stand out, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, I've had deer all over below me when there's no leaf cover.
Yeah.
And not had any issues with it, but I don't know, you almost wonder too, like, because even here, that guy, the only reason that guy saw me was because I was wearing orange, you know, during gun season.
Right.
And even though you can't shoot a gun here, you still have to wear orange. So you almost wonder, like, if the neighbors see you when there's no orange on. I've never been called out or talked to, for sure.
They probably don't, because they're not most people don't look up in trees, you know.
Yeah.
And the normal person doesn't have any reason just to look up. Now, I'm always looking up in trees and stuff, but I don't think a normal person does.
Yeah, I think because of what we do, we're naturally like, yeah, man, that'd be a great tree. You know,
you're looking at trees, just seeing mass trees and different kind of trees, or at least I am. I also coon hunted a bunch when I was little, so like you walk through the woods and I don't know, you just look up sometimes, out of habit, I guess. But hopefully you kill hopefully get a doe tonight, and then this year kill a big urban buck.
That'd be nice.
Oh man, I can't wait. I got this weekend, like, or not this weekend, but just like driving home. I actually ended up going home Saturday night after we got done hunting.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I just was getting giddy. Like, I was like, dude, this week is deer season in Indiana. You know. Now I know for you opened the 15th of September.
Yeah.
But I can't believe it's here, man.
I know. It seems like we wait all year for it, and then it almost creeps up on you.
Yeah.
But then when it's here, it's like you can't. I guess the beauty of having 2 different seasons is you get to live out that excitement twice.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just waiting for September 15th, and then after September 15th is over, you're like waiting for October 1st. So it's like a double Christmas, for sure.
It is. How many cell cameras do you have on your properties then?
So right now I've got 2 Spartans on 2 other properties that are having issues, and I think it's because of that cellular, whatever's going on. And then I've got the Reconics up here. I've got another Spartan on the property that we just got, and then I've got those 2 new ones that I'm waiting on.
Okay. Well, you're not running like 20 of them or anything.
No. I mean, I haven't the big buck lair where I'm gonna take you after we get our does.
Big buck lair.
That's what I call it. Yeah, the big buck lair. Like, we'll put a camera up when we go down there, but I purposely do not go into that place until it's like the first hunt. A lot of people say that first sit, best sit. Yeah. And you know, I firmly believe in that, because once they get that influence of movement, you know, they'll tend to shift the way that they travel a little bit, I've noticed. And that one too, like, he even said yesterday, he's like, there's a few really nice bucks hanging out. So
I wonder, like, how many deer, like, do you see a lot of deer in these environments, like on a sit?
Yeah. Usually, 5 or 6 at a time.
That would be a good sit then.
Yeah, I'd say that'd be a good sit. Now, every once in a while, you'll see nothing, like,
Sure.
the other day. But, of course, the weather didn't help either.
No, it was horrible.
But, yeah, the first day we went in, I thought for sure a tree was coming down. And then when we came back the next morning,
the wind was bad.
There were trees down. So, here comes the neighbor up top that doesn't like anybody to hunt. He's just setting out his trash cans.
Oh, he won't even see us over here.
Nah.
Gets behind that pine tree. That's what I was sitting up there wondering the other day. Like, how many deer could actually, how many can this area hold? Like, because there's not like a ton of, I guess, bedding or, I don't know. But yeah, maybe there is. Maybe because they don't require as much to hide.
So, like here, the White River's behind us, probably 100 yards, 75 yards.
Right.
So, this is all river bottom. There's a bunch of places for them to bed here. But, like, when I hunted that edge of that park, I had 7, it was either 6 or 7, just bedded down on a tennis court.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll tell you, like, you've walked in the woods and seen deer bedded down. Until you see deer on a tennis court, like, I feel like you haven't seen it all. So that was a pretty cool sight to see. And, I think they're just, like, trying to lay somewhere where it was warm. It was protected from the wind, and it was a darker surface. So,
yeah, it's probably real warm right there on the tennis court.
Yeah. But, like, I think, I've seen a bunch. The irrigation guy for the next property over, he's the one that sat that ravine, and he said that he saw, what did I tell you the other day? It was like right
50
around
or
50,
something.
52, 56 does going up that creek.
Was that like late season or something? When was that?
I'd have to text him and see, but I'm pretty sure.
Seems like something that would happen late season, like a whole herd of deer in there.
Well, he runs an irrigation company, and it's not very big, but he does what he wants to do. He's older. He's in his 50s, but he's like, he goes to Florida every winter.
Yeah.
So I feel like he does his last winterization probably October 15th, and then by the 1st of November, he's gone. So
Got it.
Last year, he was not here for the rut, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Please go away. So I was pretty surprised that he left, but he's like, dude, I just love to fish too. He's like, I'll hunt early season and then I'm gone.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that. A lot of people prefer fishing, especially they get older and you don't like the winters and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or whatever, man.
Yeah, there's definitely an appeal to it, for some people more than others all year round. Like, I don't care. I'll sit out all the way to the end of January. Especially with that late season gear and some good base layers, dude, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you get comfortable with that there.
I'm going to shut this
Yeah,
truck
that's
down.
fine. Do you have much competition on these properties? Like, do you find a lot of people, like, trying to get on them and stuff, or do people not mess with them? Because this is a secluded area. Like, most people aren't going to drive back here and, like, knock on the door,
So in this neighborhood, it started out with the property I took you to the other day.
Yeah.
And he's actually business partners with the guy that owns the big buck lair. So I was hunting there for a couple years with him. And then he's like, hey, I have a friend and they have a bunch of deer. The house manager wants to talk to you. I was talking about you at dinner. Thank you. So then I came over and met them. It's kind of like an interview. And I hunted there for a while. Well, then this guy got wind of what I was doing there, and he's like, dude, I have the same problems. Only difference is I could give a crap less about the flowers because I don't plant any.
Yeah.
He's like, I want the deer to stop eating my freaking lettuce.
Yeah, his gardening stuff.
Dude.
Yeah, he put a proper fence around where we can see the garden right here, but he has a fence around the garden.
Yeah, I don't think it's helping a lot, 'cause
they probably just jump over it.
They'd just jump right over that thing.
It'd have to be 12 foot tall for them to not get over it.
Maybe add a little bit of electricity.
Yeah. I guess it depends on how bad you don't want the deer in there.
For as little as it is, you can't blame the guy. He's a professional. He's into eye surgery. So, you can't blame the guy. He just wants his little piece of land. And wants to grow his own lettuce. You can't buy it like that at the store anymore.
No.
So,
right.
There's no GMOs in that fenced-in area over there for sure.
Yeah. Hey, whatever. Got you a deer hunting spot. That lettuce did.
Yeah. So as far as competition goes, like around here, the mayor of the neighborhood knows me, and he's the one that let me hunt over there on the edge of that next property to the north. And then being in with these guys, other people in the neighborhood have considered it, but like that one over there, that belongs to a 95-year-old lady. Like, she'll never let anyone hunt there.
Yeah.
I think you heard that the other day when I was talking to security. It's like, she's 95, she gets in a golf cart with her daughter and rides around.
Yeah.
Like, nah, those are her pets.
Yeah.
They're her pets until they cross the road.
Right.
Of course.
Then they're a problem.
Yeah, and then they're a problem. And she's got a lot of land. I mean, most of that on that whole side belongs to her.
Really?
Yeah. So there's other houses at the top, but she owns the whole strip along the river and then that giant field.
Oh, she owns that field.
She owns that whole field. So
well, that's worth some money.
Yeah. Well, I just want to talk to her about her landscaping. Man.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want to do. Like, I feel like if I could have that conversation, then
get your foot in the door.
There's a chance for sure.
Yeah.
I've had people that have said, no in the beginning, and to me, like, that's fine. But no doesn't always mean no forever. It just means no right now.
Right.
So I'm fine with that too, And a lot of people just want to get to know you.
Oh yeah. I can't blame them, dude. If I didn't know someone and I owned some land, like I wouldn't be like, yeah, go deer hunting on it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'd want to know them a little bit. It would just be.
That's how I am,
Yeah.
in this day and age. And plus the other thing is too, like, we live in such a sue happy environment.
Yeah, I know.
If something happens, everybody's ready to sue everybody right now.
A lot of these people have a lot to lose too,
Exactly. And that's why they want to know that I carry insurance. I'm like, I didn't do that just for me.
Right.
Trying to be responsible, but at the same time, like, when I approach these guys and say, hey, like, here's a copy of my insurance. This is an umbrella. So anything that happens from this deer, like running through your back sliding glass door or into your car or into your, please never happen, but into your pool, you're covered. Like, you don't have to worry about it. I'm not just going to leave you standing there with the bill. So I feel like once they get to know you a little bit, that helps. And
that's real considerate of you too. I mean, that's something that helps them, not you too. Not only you, obviously you got to cover yourself, but it's nice for them to know that they're not going to be stuck with something.
Yeah, well, I definitely don't want to be known as that guy.
Right.
No.
Now
if it runs into this 1.5 acre koi pond, I don't really care.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you've been seeing these koi.
Oh yeah, jumping up in front of us. There's I don't know what. Yeah, it's a decent sized koi pond that's in front of us, and watching them jump up and hit the top, whatever, eating bugs off top of the water, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing over there, but I see that as wildlife movement. So I'm like, if the fish are moving, hopefully the deer are moving too. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
The koi are hitting the food this morning or this evening.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good deer evening.
The barometric pressure is in such a way.
And that moon is right there. You see that?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't see anything. It's pretty overcast right now.
Yeah.
It's still, though, dude. There's not a leaf moving right now.
I know.
And that was not the case this weekend.
No, that was crazy. That hurricane,
That's what I said. Walking through the woods, if you looked up, it was spooky because, like, the trees were bending over into.
Yeah. Well, we had several clients. Like, that's all my guys today are doing cleanup.
Yeah.
They finished a drainage job this morning, one of my crews. And then literally everyone else is doing cleanup today.
Yeah.
Just from the storm.
Yeah, it was a mess, man. They cleaned it up pretty fast, though.
Yeah. I feel like there's enough firepower. I feel like anymore, I exist in a saturated market.
Yeah.
That's why, it helps to be good at a few different things. But I feel like every truck they sell anymore comes with a trailer and a, set of hand tools.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. There's so many. Every time I go out, I see a new landscape company.
Something I would really enjoy having is a lawn mowing business, but everybody seems to have that same idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the freedom,
Yeah.
Like, even me, I used to mow in my early years, and I'm looking back at it now, and I'm like, gosh, I just miss when it was that easy.
You just could mow, and that's it.
Yeah, my boys are like, my older son, he mows all my estates for me, and he's 17, but, like, I've been training him for 3 years, But he's like, man, he's like, I gotta get these lawns done. I'm like, dude, you have no idea how much I wish I could just hop on a mower, put my AirPods in, turn my music on, put my phone on silent. I don't know if you've seen it, like the screen is just nonstop, dude. This thing never stops going on. So, like, to me, that's therapy.
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of guys see it that way. They're like, hey, I just want to go hop on a lawnmower. It's instant gratification. As long as you have half a clue what you're doing, you can stripe a lawn. You know, as soon as you pull your truck up or your mower on the trailer, you can turn around and see that you did a good job. So.
Yeah. Yeah. There's there's already seems like there's almost more lawn companies than there are lawns in our town that we have, it seems like. But
yeah, especially down here.
Yeah.
But, you know, once you get to know somebody, like, I don't advertise at all. All my work's word of mouth, so once I do a job for somebody, I'll usually get 3 or 4 referrals out of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, same thing with this, you know, that's the sandbox that we're playing in. I mean, these people are clients.
Well, what's nice about living in this area, too, is these people are spending a lot of money to where you don't have to have as many clients.
Yep.
Now, it's bigger jobs, obviously, like you're putting in bigger, they're playing in a bigger ball field than everybody else, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know, these are jobs where you're at for 3, 6, 9 months at a time.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like going and putting in a small patio and...
Right, but they may be spending $500,000 on their landscaping and, you know, not just flowers, but like seawalls. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff,
you
know.
Yeah, I mean, we just did a water feature in that golf course neighborhood. And it wasn't cheap for sure. But it was a 16-foot waterfall in the backyard of a golf course.
Right.
So, I mean, stuff like that, or big retaining walls, fire features.
Right. But whereas with a lawn mowing company, and like especially in the small towns, like you're going to be dealing with a lot of people because you just got to have a lot of probably clientele for something like that.
Yeah.
Small lawns or whatever the case may be. But,
yeah, I mean, and the other thing is with that too, like we build all year long. We'll build in the winter.
Okay.
If you're mowing, like
it's
eventually
gonna
the
stop.
grass stops growing. So security.
Yeah,
Looks like a tree fell on his
It did.
tailgate.
It looks like it.
Dang.
Will he stop and check you or anything, or does he know your truck? This truck.
He knows this truck too.
Okay.
Yeah.
He probably didn't even see that we were in here.
No, probably not. The tinted windows help, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when you mow though, you know, you've got an 8-month, 9-month window.
Yeah.
Usually 8 here. I've definitely mowed in January before on a, you know, more mild year, but once that window's over, like those guys just pack it up. They make hay during the mowing season, and you know, some of them will do leaf removals and whatnot and snow, but dude, we really haven't had that much snow here.
No,
lately.
not in the last several years.
I feel like,
not enough that would keep you in business, you know, from just removing snow.
yeah, we do not do snow removal. If the ground's gonna freeze, I'll just cover the ground with concrete insulation mats so it doesn't freeze, and then we'll actually just go out and peel them off and go to work, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
That makes sense.
it's nicer once it gets colder like that though, because it's easy for me to be like, you know, just get all of my materials on a job site and then have the guys autopilot a little bit so I can get into the woods and freeze.
Yeah. Well, cool. Let's wrap this thing up. You got a pretty good Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Squatch Family Outdoors.
Squatch Family Outdoors. You don't have YouTube or anything yet, do you?
Not yet. I've thought about it. I certainly have a bunch of footage that I could make a YouTube with.
Yeah, yeah. You seem like you like to film stuff and stuff.
I do.
You're constantly filming, so.
Film or pictures, yeah.
Security guy might be checking on us, so. Nope, he's going on.
Driving on by.
Never mind.
I'll text him and get some intel, though.
Yeah, where the deer at right now.
Yeah, exactly. Just drive up top and start walking down the hill.
Start pushing them to us.
Yeah.
Dude, I bet you could do some good deer drives in these neighborhoods because there's so many little pinch points.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely pinch points. That's a good point, actually. I didn't think about it like that, but there's definitely certain travel routes I like to take.
Like in between houses and stuff. And yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, it is fun.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. And hit the subscribe button before you leave. And go check out Zach. I'll link his Instagram below. Thanks, dude.
Man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.